Hello and welcome to Combat Patrol Carnage. So we're moving on with issue 1, and today we're going to be taking a look at our first read articles. So we've got an overview of the 40k setting, as well as a look at the Space Marines and Tyranids, plus our first collect articles, where we'll be naming our Tyranid Prime and Space Marine Captain. Don't forget, this series is proudly sponsored by warbay.shop, your one-stop supply of hobby needs. They both buy and sell new and used armies, as well as supply partworks. So if you'd like to subscribe to them, they do a fantastic deal for shipping, just £4, regardless of the amount of issues you actually buy. They also have a huge catalogue of the past partworks, so do check that out on their store. Link in the description. Right, let's head to the table and we'll do some reading. And we're back with issue 1, so we'll skip straight to our read sections. So we've got our first read section here. Welcome to the 41st millennium. So amidst an ongoing battle, Space Marines fight to drive back the nightmarish forces of chaos. So we'll probably be seeing a big fight of chaos versus Space Marines when we get to the chaos part of this collection. So let us read together our first 3 read articles. The galaxy burns. As colossal battleships duel in the heavens above, armies on countless worlds battle for resource, glory, or simply survival. Hope, enlightenment, and progress have been scoured away by the flames of endless conflict. All that remains is hatred, rage, and war on an unimaginable scale. It is the 41st millennium and humanity stands on the brink of annihilation. For thousands of years, the Imperium of Man have claimed supremacy over the galaxy, but it is beset on all sides by threats. On the fringes of the Imperium, ancient and arrogant alien empires battle to reclaim their long-lost dominions, eradicating entire planets with incomprehensible technologies. Within the Imperium's heart, darkness takes root as cults and mutant sects tempt the masses with promises of freedom and power. Meanwhile, beyond reality itself, nightmarish demons and long-damned traitors prepare to invade. In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. The Imperium. The Imperium is a brutal and warlike empire that claims the entire galaxy for mankind. The life of every single Imperial citizen is dedicated utterly to war and worship of the God Emperor. The Imperium has unnumbered armies, from the vast regiments of the Astra Militarum to the legendary Space Marines, both of which you'll be seeing in this collection. Chaos. In the 41st millennium, all emotion has a psychic echo. Millennia of hate, fear, ambition, despair, and desire have coalesced into chaos. A reality-warping force of terrifying power, many mortals worship the Chaos Gods, and in exchange for their sanity and their souls, they are gifted with dark and sinister power. So we'll only be seeing 2 Chaos factions, both of which are Chaos Space Marines. One, the generic Black Legion, and the other, the World Eaters. Xenos. Many great, terrible alien empires also claim dominion over the galaxy. The ancient Necrons, for example, are immortal machines for whom the laws of physics are mere playthings, while the warlike Orcs transform entire star systems into wastelands of scrap metal. The Tau are technologically advanced pioneers who use diplomacy as much as brute force, while the mysterious Aldari possess the power to predict the future with incredible accuracy. So that's our introduction. Moving on, we got a introduction to Space Marines, the Angels of Death. A force of Space Marines raises its banner over a soon-to-be-conquered foe. No regular human could hope to stand against the endless horrors that beset mankind, But the Space Marines are no regular humans. These warriors are demigods of war enhanced by ancient gene alchemy and the Imperium's finest technology to become the greatest army humanity has ever known. A Space Marine is the ultimate warrior. Ruthlessly selected and trained from an early age, Space Marines are remade through countless surgical and genetic enhancements. These warriors are stronger, faster, and smarter than the very best unaugmented warriors. Unarmed, a Space Marine is deadly enough, but clad in a suit of mechanized power armor, he is a living tank, capable of punching through rockcrete, sprinting at terrifying speed, and walking through enemy fire unharmed. For the Space Marines, duty is all. These warriors never rest. Their lives are spent dedicated to warfare, living as warrior monks in tightly knit brotherhoods. It is these bonds, even more than their incredible ability, that make the Space Marines so deadly. When war calls, a Space Marine strike force is like a single armoured fist. They strike without warning in a fusillade of explosive fire and hammering blows. As speeders scream through the skies above and tanks lay down covering fire below, the Space Marine infantry surge forwards, falling upon their enemies with relentless fury. Any who stand in their path are incinerated, blown apart and smashed aside by the armoured fists of the Angels of Death. Combat squads. Within a Space Marine force, each squad is trained and equipped to master a specific role on the battlefield. Some operate as stealthy infiltrators, assassinating key targets and spreading havoc before fading into the background. Others are equipped for rapid insertion, teleporting directly into the heart of the fight, clad in nigh impenetrable plating. Choose your sword with wisdom, wield your sword with fury. The Angels descend. Space Marine commanders tailor their forces to be as deadly as possible. Every squad works to support the others. As heavy gunners suppress foes at range, combat troops with revving chainswords and crackling power blades advance forth to finish the job. A Space Marine army is aided by war machines. Tanks fire the heaviest weaponry, while towering dreadnoughts crash headlong into enemy lines under a salvo of gunfire. The Space Marines stand as an immovable bulwark against the endless tide of Tyranids. And that is an impressive collection. So yeah. We'll start with a small force and you could expand into something that cool. That's awesome. The Tyranids, the Devouring Swarm. A Tyranid invasion swarm teams across the surface of a doomed world, ready to devour anything in their path. The Tyranids are perhaps the single greatest threat to life in the 41st millennium. They are an endless swarm of biologically adapt killers, connected by a singular intellect known as the hive mind. Every planet they conquer is transformed into a bare husk, its biomass used to make more Tyranids. The Tyranids are an alien swarm from beyond the galaxy. Where other forces dominate through training and technology, the Tyranids use biological adaptation. From their betentacled battleships to their insectile ammunition, everything the Tyranids use is grown and bred to be as lethal as possible. To a terrified outsider, a Tyranid army appears as a swarm of countless clawed organisms, tearing and ripping through the foe with animal ferocity. The truth is far darker. Every Tyranid organism is an appendage of the vast and unknowable hive mind, from the hulking Tyrannofex down to the lowliest chittering termagant. With every battle, the hive mind adapts the Tyranids to better slay and consume its enemies. Towering horrors. The largest Tyranid bioforms are truly terrifying to behold. Some act as biological artillery, loosing swarms of biting insects or pulses of bioplasma to scour their foes. Others stride into battle, scything down ranks of infantry with horrific ease. The very greatest Tyranid war organisms wield nightmarish psychic powers that drive their victims to madness and terror. Brave are they who know everything, yet fear nothing. The unending swarm. A Tyranid invasion is an apocalypse made manifest. Once the swarm has found a world to devour, it overwhelms its defenders with wave after wave of horrific creatures. Whenever the hive encounters resistance, it will dispatch specialized Tyranids to crush them. Many foes are simply overwhelmed by the Tyranids' sheer numbers, as assimilation beasts reclaim the bodies of the slain on both sides to fuel the Tyranid attacks. A Tyranid swarm teems across the surface of a doomed world, ready to devour anything in their path. Moving on, we have our first collect articles, and this is for the Captain in Terminator armor. So what we're going to do is we're going to name our captain here on screen. And for that, I got a piece of paper because previous experience of this magazine, the pages aren't exactly bleed proof and you will reprint your name on the next page. So I don't want to do that. So a bit of paper to help ease up on the pressure there. So first off, let's see what a captain in Terminator armor is. Space Marine captains lead from the front. Each is a veteran of decades or even centuries of battle. Having proven their skill in battle time and time again, clad in nigh impregnable Terminator armor, a Space Marine captain commands his troops with skill even as he dives into brutal melee with the deadliest foes. So we've got a table here, D6 naming table. If we get 1 or 2, we get Lucian. 3 or 4, we get Marius. On a 5 or 6, we get Caius. And we've got a little description of how he acts in battle. So, unit name. Naming your units helps tell stories about them in battle. Roll D6 on the table above to generate a background and name of your Space Marine captain. Then we got deeds. Mark off these deeds when you complete them as you take your model through assembly, painting, and gaming. Right, so we'll put our piece of paper there. So, I have a dice, and I have a pen. Let's name our captain. So, let's see what we get. It's a 6. So that means we have Caius. I'll write that down in my own time. So he is a captain that studies his foes carefully and ensures he always knows their weakness. As for the deeds, we can tick off the build as we've already built him in the previous episode. And we'll be able to tick off play next episode. Didn't get any bleed through. That's interesting. Nice. So on the back, we have a breakdown of what a datasheet is. So this is a datasheet where all the information needed to use your unit in games of Combat Patrol is recorded. You'll receive a datasheet for each unit in Combat Patrol collection. Don't worry if this appears overwhelming. We'll teach you how to use these in a future issue. I believe it's issue 4, as I've seen online. But yeah, so we got his statistics here, a little bit about what a captain is, and his various weapons and abilities. Moving on, we have our winged Tyranid Prime. So every Tyranid attack force is coordinated by synapse creatures, carriers that transmit the horrific psychic will of the hive mind to lesser organisms. Tyranid Primes are swift and deadly synapse beasts who swoop down across the battlefield, descending to coordinate attacks to slaughter their prey. So again, we've got a D6 table here. We'll roll a dice. And we've got a 5. Tyranid is known as the Shifting Shadow. And again, I'll fill out that bit on my own time. And we have built him, so I can tick that off as well. And that's it for this episode. So again, we've got a reminder of a datasheet. So we've got the stats of the Winged Tyranid Prime there, and what the Combat Patrol collection actually is. So, as I said, there we go. That was our read and collect articles for issue 1. Moving on to episode 3 now, we have our first battle, putting our newly built models in through their paces. So, a big shout out and thank you to warbay.shop for sponsoring this series, and a big thank you to everyone for watching this video. I'll see you next time on Combat Patrol Carnage. Goodbye.